right then. The name's Ration, not your typical operative. I'll grant you. The fur coat is genuine, for one. My assignment, shall we say, is a permanent one, and rather off the books. The protection of a particularly fluffy, and if I'm honest, remarkably dim-witted flock of sheep. It's not the sort of work one boasts about at the watering hole, but it has its moments, and it certainly beats the alternative, the rather brutish agenda of my former colleagues. You see, I am, to put it mildly, the black sheep of the family, or perhaps, more accurately, the sheep in wolf's clothing. My mother, a wolf of unusually gentle disposition, or so the whispers in the wind suggested, met a tragic end bringing yours truly into the world. Died in childbirth, they said. Left me, a rather conspicuous pup with an unsettlingly placid gaze and a scent that never quite matched the rest of the litter, to the tender mercies of the pack. My name, Ration, a soft sound in a harsh world, was her last gift, or so I like to imagine. It carries a certain resonance, a hint of compassion, perhaps generosity, qualities not highly prized in the circles I was born into. The pack, led by a grizzled alpha whose idea of diplomacy was a well-aimed snap of the jaws, had a simple philosophy. Sheep were for supper. I, however, found their bleeding less an appetizer and more a responsibility. Call it a quirk of my mixed heritage. The wolf kids are black sheep adage was practically coined for me. My attempts at conforming to the pack's predatory curriculum were, to be charitable, a spectacular failure. The thrill of the hunt eluded me. The terror of the prey, however, was uncomfortably vivid. It became a matter of principle, really. One can't very well dine on one's charges. So, I opted for career change. Self-employed, you might say. Guardian, shepherd, if you're feeling poetic. Though I draw the line at the crook, my methods are unorthodox. A low growl, strategically placed, can redirect a wandering you more effectively than any sheepdog's frantic yapping. My senses, a rather potent cocktail of wolfish acuity and an almost sheep-like empathy, allow me to anticipate dangers the flock themselves are blissfully unaware of. There's a certain satisfaction in outmaneuvering a slinking coyote or a too ambitious fox, all without ruffling too much wool. It's a delicate balance. This training sheep while raising black sheep alone, a solitary endeavor, but one I've come to master. The current predicament, however, was a rather more personal affair. A shadow from the past, darker and more predatory than any mountain cat. My twin, yes, a rather inconvenient familial tie. Grim, he called himself, a name as subtle as his methods. Pure wolf, all teeth and appetite, with none of my nuanced perspective. He always resented my defection, saw it as a weakness, an insult to the grand lupine tradition of bloodshed. And now, he found my little pastoral sanctuary. Well, brother, Grim's voice, a gravelly sneer, cut through the evening calm. He stood at the edge of the meadow, a silhouette of malice against the fading light, his eyes fixed on the nervously huddling sheep. Still playing nursemaid to dinner. How quaint, grim, I acknowledged, my tone level. One learns to keep a cool head when dealing with family, especially the sort that wants to eat your clients. I see you haven't cultivated any new hobbies. Still fixated on the low-hanging fruit, are we? He chuckled, a dry, humorless sound. There's sheep, Ration. Fool, it's what we do. Perhaps what you do, I corrected, stepping subtly between him and the flock. The sheep, bless their cotton socks, had bunched up behind me, a woolly, trembling barricade. My portfolio is somewhat more diversified. The air crackled. This wasn't a negotiation. It was an overture to a rather unpleasant piece of business. Grim was faster, perhaps even stronger in a straightforward brawl. But I had the home field advantage, and a rather more developed sense of strategy than simply charging in. Jaws agape. He lunged, a black blur. Predictable. I sidestepped, using the uneven terrain to my advantage. The trick learned from observing how the sure-footed sheep navigated these very slopes. He overshot, snarling in frustration. You always were a disappointment, he spat, circling. Mother would be ashamed. Mother, I said, my voice dropping a fraction, might have appreciated a son who didn't view the world as an all-you-can-eat buffet. She named me Ration for a reason, I suspect, and it wasn't for my table manners. The fight, when it truly joined, was a flurry of feints and snaps. Grim fought with raw, untamed fury. I fought with precision, conserving energy, using his aggression against him. I knew this land, every rock, every dip, every sheep trail that could lead an unwary wolf into a tight spot. And I knew sheep. Their panic, if uncontrolled, could be a liability. But guided, it could be a tool, with a specific, low whistle, a sound that meant scatter, but in that direction to my flock. I sent them bolting towards a narrow ravine, one I knew had a treacherous, loose shale slope on one side. Grim, blinded by his pursuit of what he thought was fleeing prey, followed them headlong. I was, of course, waiting at the top of the ravine. As he scrambled, losing purchase on the shifting stones, I made my move. Not a killing blow. That wasn't my style. Not anymore. But a decisive, disarming one. A shoulder barge, perfectly timed, sent him tumbling down the rest of the slope, ending in an undignified heap of fur and wounded pride at the bottom. He lied, but he wouldn't be troubling my flock again anytime soon. As Grim limped away, muttering curses that would make a sailor blush, I turned back to my charges. They were already coming, their collective memory remarkably short. One does not expect gratitude in this line of work. A quiet meadow, a peaceful night. That's payment enough. Passion. The wolf who cried shepherd. It has a certain ring to it, don't you think? Shaken, not stirred, as they say. And the sheep, well, they were, for tonight at least, perfectly safe. Chapter 2, right? So picture this, man. Night falls. The sheep are doing their sheep thing, counting themselves, I guess, cause what else they got to do. And Ration, my man with the conflicted conscience, he ain't chilling. That whole throwdown with his brother Grim, that wasn't the season finale, you feel me? That was just a commercial break. So Rasham, he's like, word, Grim limped off, looking like he lost a fight with a lawnmower. But that dude's got backup. And I gotta know where these fools are posted up. Cause, property values. And of a wolf pack setting up a timeshare next to your all-you-can-eat buffet that you're trying to protect. It's a whole situation, man. The moon's out, doing its best impression of a dim flashlight. Rasham, he puts that wolf nose to work. Grim scent, oh, it's potent. A delightful bouquet of wet dye, desperation, and cheap cologne, wolf equivalent, Probably called Ode to Desperation. He follows it, moving through the shadows like he is one. This ain't his first rodeo, even if his rodeos usually involve less bucking broncos and more. Existential crises about eating the livestock. He's trekking, keeping it low, real quiet. Think solid snake, but with more fur and a genuine concern for woolly well-being. He's got to pinpoint this wolf camp, see how close these jokers are to his flock. It's all about risk assessment, people. Like checking the Yelp reviews before you go to a new restaurant, except the bad review here is, yeah, they ate all my sheep. 1 star. After a while, sniffing and creeping, he picks up the vibe. That low hum of bad intentions. And then he sees it, the wolf camp. It ain't exactly the Ritz-Carlton. More like a collection of mangy-looking wolves huddled around a pathetic excuse for a fire, probably complaining about the lack of decent takeout in the area. Standard bad guy stuff. Rasham scoping it out, doing his reconnaissance, when he spots something that makes his first stand on end, and not in a good way. Tucked away in a shoddy little pen, looking scared out his woolly mind, is a sheep. A single sheep. Probably the appetizer they forgot about. Now Rasham, he's got that sheep empathy thing, right? He sees this poor, fluffy dude, and it's like looking at a kid who dropped his ice cream. He can't just leave him there, man. That's like a firefighter seeing a kid in a tree and being like, nah, I'm on my lunch break. It ain't happening. So, new plan forms in that half wolf, half almost a vegan brain of his. Mission, impossible, sheep edition. He's got to get that sheep out of there, and he's got to do it without waking up a timeshare community of hangry wolves. This is where that training sheep and raising black sheep alone experience comes in handy. He's got the stealth skills of a ninja and the patience of a saint. Very hairy, slightly conflicted saint. He waits, watches the wolves. They're getting sleepy. Probably from all that plotting and being generally unpleasant. One by one, they start doing that wolf snore, which, trust me, ain't a lullaby. It's like a Harley trying to start in a garbage disposal. Rasham makes his move. He's a whisper in the grass, a shadow on the breeze. He gets to the pen, and the sheep inside is looking at him with eyes the size of dinner plates, probably thinking, oh great, the main course just showed up to check on the appetizer. Rasham gives it that low, reassuring rumbly growl he uses, the one that says, yo, I'm cool, just play along, and nobody gets turned into a sweater. He works the latch on the pen, probably some janky stick and vine contraption, and it opens with a little squeak. Rasham freezes. The wolf snort, roll over, but stay down. Close call, man. Too close. He nudges the sheep out. Now, you ever try to tell a terrified sheep to be quiet? It's like trying to baptize a cat. But Rasham, he's got the touch. He guides this furbo, moving slow, every step deliberate. They clear the camp, melt back into the trees. It's like that scene in the movies, but with more bleeding potential. They get a good ways off, back towards Rasham's neck of the woods. The rescued sheep is probably thinking it's died and gone to fluffy heaven. Rasham's thinking, all right, crisis averted. Maybe I can finally get some. Snap, a twig. Oh, out of the darkness. 3 shapes. Young wolves. The JV squad. Looking to make a name for themselves. They probably smelled the rescued sheep. Or maybe they were just out looking for trouble, like teenagers at a mall. They surround Rasham and his new, terrified +1. One of them, all puffed up, says something dumb like, well, what have we here? Looks like the trader brought us a midnight snack. Rasham just sighs, man, like really. He just did a whole special ops mission, and now he's got to deal with these amateurs. These ain't grim level threats. These are the dudes who still get their lunch money stolen. Look, kids, Rasham says, his voice calm, like he's about to explain why they can't have cookies before dinner. It's late, I'm tired. This little guy's had a rough night. Why don't y'all just run along before you get hurt? They just laugh. Bad move. It's a 3 or -1. But these ain't seasoned fighters. They're all eagerness and no technique. Like a kid button mashing in Street Fighter. They charge. Rasham, he ain't even break a sweat, man. It's like watching a pro ball player school some kids on the playground. First wolf comes in high. Rasham ducks, uses the kid's momentum, and whoosh, Youngblood's eating dirt. Second one tries to flank him. Rasham just sidesteps, casual as you please. And the wolf trips over his own feet, looking confused. Third one, he hesitates, seeing his boys getting styled on. Rasham just gives him the look. You know the one. I'm so not in the mood for this look. It ain't even a fight. It's a damn clinic. A few quick moves, nothing lethal. Rasham ain't about that life anymore, remember. Just enough to show him they are out of their league. Shoulder bump here, a leg sweep there. These pups are on the ground, whimpering, tails tucked, looking like they just got told Santa ain't real. Rasham dusts himself off, metaphorically speaking. He looks at the 3 wannabes. Class dismissed, he says, his voice still even. Go tell Grim his recruitment standards are slipping. The young wolves scramble up and take off like their tails are on fire. Probably gonna go cry to their alpha. Rasham watches them go, shakes his hand. Kids these days, he mutters. He nudges the rescued sheep, who's just been standing there, probably processing the fact that he was almost dinner, then rescued by a bigger dinner, who then beat up some other potential dinners. Deep psychology, man, it's deep. Come on, pal, Rasham says. Let's get you back to the flock. Pretty sure they got some premium grass you can stress eat. And off they went, the wolf who cried shepherd in his latest. Slightly Traumatized edition. Another night, another weird adventure. Just another day at the office for Ration. Or Chapter 3. All right, now hold on. Let me get this straight. So Ration, the wolf who's out here playing shepherd, looking after sheep like they his little fluffy children. Bless his confused heart. He done had a day. You remember, he snuck into a wolf camp, snatched a sheep like he was Repo in a damn lamb, and then had to lay the smackdown on some youngin' wolves who didn't know their paws from their elbows. And was tired, you hear me, tired. So what does this fool do? He's out in the fields, right? The sheep are probably doing their little boss symphonies. The crickets are chirping. The moon's looking all romantic. And Ration, he figures, you know what? I'm just gonna catch a quick 40 winks right here, under the stars. Real picturesque. PSSH. Let me tell you something about sleeping in the damn field when you got enemies. It's like leaving your front door wide open in the projects with a sign saying, free TVs and slightly used principles. It ain't smart, player. So my man Ration, he nods off, dreaming about, I don't know, organic kibble and world peace between predators and prey. Next thing he knows, bam. He ain't dreaming no more. He wakes up, and it ain't to the smell of fresh dew and buy-in. Nah, he wakes up and he's trussed up tighter than a Thanksgiving turkey. Tied to a tree, looking like a damn piñata at a wolf party nobody invited him to. Some nerve, right? They didn't even leave him a courtesy mint on the pillow. He's looking around, all groggy, like, hold up, did I miss a memo? Was there a capture Ration day I wasn't aware of? His head's pounding. He can smell him, though. Wolves, not his fan club, clearly. Now Ration, he might be a wolf with a sheep complex, but he ain't no punk. He starts working them ropes with his teeth. Hey, you heard me. Now on them like they a stale breadstick he just ain't ready to give up on. It ain't pretty. Probably got splinters in his gums. But a wolf's gotta do what a wolf's gotta do when he's tied to a damn tree looking like a sacrifice to the god of bad decisions. Finally, snap. He's free. But here's the kicker. Pimp. He looks around and he ain't got a clue where he is. Not a familiar sniff. Not a landmark. Nothing. These wolves, they didn't just tie him up. They relocated his behind. He's lost. Lost like a vegan at a barbecue. Lost like a politician's integrity. This is some bull. So now he's gotta figure out which way is home. But first, he's gotta deal with the welcome wagon. Cause you know they ain't just gonna let him stroll out. He starts moving, trying to get his bearings. And that's when the party starts. He stumbles into what looks like their main spot, a den, a real wolfy hangout. And it's on. Waves of them coming at him. Not the top tier talent, mind you. These are the B-listers, the understudies, the ones who still gotta practice their howls in the mirror. But there's a lot of them. Ration's fighting them off, ducking and weaving, throwing paws. It's like a furry, four-legged bar brawl, minus the cheap beard and sticky floors. He's trying not to go full beast mode, cause that ain't his style no more. But these cats are persistent. He's getting tired, though. One wolf against the whole damn den. Eyes ain't looking good, even for a dude with his particular set of skills. He's surrounded, snarling, thinking, well, this is how it ends. Eaten by a bunch of C-list carnivores. My obituary's gonna be embarrassing. And then, just when he's about to get real unfriendly, a voice cuts through the chaos. A female voice. Strong, got that I run this kind of tone. Enough. And just like that, pimping, it stops. The wolves back off, looking all sheepish themselves. Irony. Out steps the alpha female. Now, let me tell you, she was something. Not just some run-of-the-mill wolfette. She had that look, that presence, like she could stare down a grizzly bear and make it apologize. She walks right up to Ration, who's still panting, looking like he just went 12 rounds with a tumble dryer. He circles him, sniffs, gives him that long, appraising look, like she's trying to decide if he's worth the trouble or just needs a good grooming. Ration, he ain't saying nothing. What's he gonna say? Excuse me, ma'am, could you point me to the nearest flock of sheep I'm supposed to be protecting from people like you? Then, the alpha female, she does something unexpected. She just kinda jerks her head in a certain direction, a silent that way. No explanation. No get the hell out of my den. Just a point. Ration, he ain't gonna question it. He's tired, he's sore, and he's pretty sure he just used up all his social energy for the next decade. He gives a little nod, wolf equivalent of much obliged, don't mind if I do, and he starts walking. The other wolves, they just watch him go, probably confused as hell. So Ration starts his trek, and let me tell you, it was a trek. Many moons, the story goes. That means it took a minute, alright. He was walking, and walking, probably living off berries and existential dread. He's out there, under the stars again, but this time he ain't sleeping so soundly, you can bet that. Every rustle of leaves, he's probably jumping like, who's there? You want some of this too? Finally, after what felt like forever in a day, he makes it back. Back to his field, back to his fluffy, dim-witted charges. They probably didn't even notice he was gone. Sheep man, no loyalty. But as Ration settles back into his unorthodox routine, watching over his flock, something's nagging at him. That alpha female, the way she just pointed, no fuss, no muss. And he starts wondering, you know, a powerful lady like that, running her own den, clearly got her stuff together. It was her old man, who's the wolf king to her queen. Or maybe she ain't got one. Maybe she's a single, independent wolf woman who don't need no wolf man. It's a thought, ain't it? Got Ration pondering the complexities of lupine relationships. Almost makes a fella want to write a think piece. Almost. But for now, he's home. And the sheep are safe. Ish. Till the next episode of Ration's ridiculous life. Anyway, stay tuned, pimpin'. It's always something. Chapter 4. 8. So boom. Picture this. Ration, my dude, is crashed out. He's back with his flock. But you know, a wolf's gotta sleep sometime, even if he's got a 24/7 sheep security gig. He's dreaming, right? And in this dream, it's all misty and weird. And then she walks in, the alpha female from before, the one who gave him directions like a furry GPS. But this time, she ain't just pointing. She leans in and bam, bites him. Not like, hey, I may eat you bite. More like a you're a kind of bite. Wild, right? Ashton jolts awake, heart pounding like a drum solo at a Philly block party. He's like, whoa, what was that? But then he smells it. Sniff, sniff. Hold up. That ain't she. That ain't stale fear. That's her scent. The alpha female. In his territory. For real. So, what's a wolf/bodyguard to do? He follows it. He's gotta know what's up. Is this a social call? Did she leave her scarf? He's moving quiet, all stealth mode, through the pre-dawn gloom. The scent gets stronger, leading him away from his sleepy sheep. And then, welcome to Earth. It's an ambush, y'all. 4 big albedo wolves, looking like they mean business. Jump out. Scouts, probably. They surround Rasham, growling, teeth flashing. Rasham's like, oh, hell no, not this again. I just got my fur looking right. He braces himself, cause it's about to go down. He ain't no Man in Black agent, but he can handle himself. He's ducking, weaving, throwing paws. It's a flurry of fur and snarls. One lunges, Rasham sidesteps. Woo. Makes him eat dirt. Another one comes from the side. Rasham gives him a little shoulder check that sends him spinning. He's holding his own, but 4-on-1. That's bad boy odds, even for Rasham. And then, just as things are getting real hairy, a voice cuts through the chaos, sharp and clear. Stand down. The beta wolves freeze, mid-snarl. And who steps out of the shadows, looking like a queen? You guessed it, the alpha female. She strolls in, cool as a cucumber in a freezer. And those 4 tough guys suddenly look like puppets who just got caught chewing on the good slippers. He walks right up to Rasham, was panting a little, trying to look like he wasn't just about to get his tail handed to him. My apologies for the enthusiastic welcome, she says, her voice smooth like velvet. They get a little overzealous. I'm Snow. Rasham, man, he's a little stoned. This is the first time they can actually, talk without him being tied up or her being all mysterious. And Snow, she's looking good, powerful, confident, with eyes that sparkle. So Rasham, being the smooth operator he is, even with sheep fluff probably still on him, he grins that wolfy grin. Snow, huh? Well, damn, I must be in a winter wonderland, cause you are looking absolutely beautiful. Whoa, he went there. Snow actually blushes a little under her fur, gives a little laugh. You're not so bad yourself, for sheep wolf. They're having a moment, y'all. Sparks flying. It's like a rom-com, but with more potential for rabies. He melts, she melts. It's a whole puddle of oil. But then, Rasham's nose twitches. That super sniffer of his picks up something else. Something bad. Feel bad. His eyes go wide. Oh no, oh, hell no. Snow looks at him, concerned. What is it? Grim. Rasham growls, all the flirtiness gone. My psycho brother. And he ain't alone. He's got his whole pack, and they are heading for the flock. There's no time. This is it, the big one. Snow looks at her guards, then back at Rasham. Decision time. My scouts made a mistake tangling with you. Grim is a blight on these lands. We will help. Rasham's like, you serious? This is big. Consider it an alliance. Snow says with a sly smile, and it is on. Rasham, Snow, and her elite guard. They tear off towards the meadow. It's like a superhero team-up. The wolf pack meets, well, another wolf pack, but the good kind. They get there just in the nick of time. Grim's pack is spilling into the meadow, eyes locked on the terrified sheep. It's about to be a buffet. Not today. Rasham roars, charging in. Snow and her crew right beside him. Epic battle, y'all. Fur flying, teeth snapping. It's like Independence Day, but with more growling and less Will Smith getting into an alien ship. Though Rasham is kinda alien to these regular wolves. Snow is a whirlwind, tacking down Grim's goons left and right. Rasham's protecting his sheep, fighting with a fierceness even he didn't know he had. While the battle rages, Rasham's got an idea. The waterfall. He yells to Snow's crew. Herd the sheep through the waterfall. There's a hidden pass. It's a desperate plan, but it's their only shot to get the flock to safety. Snow's wolves, disciplined and awesome, start moving the sheep, a woolly stampede towards the thundering water. Most of Grim's pack gets tangled up with Snow's warriors, but Grim, he only has eyes for Rasham and the sheep. As the last sheep disappears behind the curtain of water, Grim and Rasham find themselves face to face on a hill overlooking the chaos. The rain started, making everything dramatic. This ends now, brother. Grim snarls, all teeth and hate. Those sheep were an insult. You're an insult. And since I'm pack alpha, what I say goes. Rasham stands tall. You were never fit to lead, Grim. A leader protects, you only destroy. And if this pack needs a new alpha, then let's settle it. This is it, the main event. The winner takes the pack. The loser, well, loses. They collide. It's a brutal fight. Grim is all rage and power. Rasham is smarter, using the terrain, using that inner strength he found protecting his flock. Snaps, lunges, dodges. They are both getting battered. Rasham takes a hit, goes down. Grim's on him. But Rasham, thinking of his sheep, thinking of Snow, he finds a last burst of energy. He flips Grim, a desperate move. And then, with the final, decisive move, he pins Grim. Not killing blow, just dominance. Grim lies there, defeated, breathing hard. The fighting below stops as everyone sees. Rasham stands over him, rain plastering his fur. He lets out a howl, not of rage, but of victory, of change. The remaining wolves of Grim's pack, they see it. They know their alpha lost. Rasham looks at them. This pack is under new management. Woo might drop. Later, after things calm down, the sheep are safe, and Grim's pack is looking at Rasham with a mix of fear and respect. Snow walks up to him, a proud smile on her face. You did it, Rasham. You're the alpha now. Rasham, Still kinda buzzing. Grams. Yeah, I guess I am. Got a nice ring to it, right? Alpha ration. Snow nuzzles him. It does. But, just a little heads up, Mr. Alpha. What's that? She looks at him, suddenly serious. The Alpha who pointed you home before. My original Alpha. He's used to being the biggest dog in any yard. He's gonna hear about a new pack leader on his borders. And he's probably gonna wanna have a discussion about who's really in charge around here. Rasham's eyes widen a little. Oh man, for real. There's always a bigger fish, huh? Snow just shrugs, a little smile playing on her lips. Welcome to the top, Rasham. It ain't always easy. And that's how my man Rasham, the wolf who cried shepherd, became the wolf prince of the male. But you know this ain't the end of the drama, right? This is Hollywood, baby. Or, you know, the woods. But it's always something. Peace out. Chapter 5. All right. So peep this, Hans. Rasham, he the new Alpha in charge. Okay. He got Grimm's old dusty pack. And he's like, all right, you little monsters, new rules. We ain't eating the sheep. We protecting the sheep. Get your mind right. And these wolves, they're actually listening. They out here doing drills, learning how to be bodyguards for the fluff balls. And the sheep, the gaggas, they out here playing patty cake with these reformed ruffians. It's a whole new world. The new Garcelle. Okay. But Grimm, oh, the hater. He's still wounded, probably from his pride mostly. Just sulking in the cut, looking like he smells something bad. Which, speaking of bad smells, he sniffs the air one day, and his raggedy tail tucks itself so far up, you think he was trying to hide it. He slinks off, away from the pack, away from the flock. Smart move, boo, for once. Meanwhile, Rasham and his new boo, Snow, cause, yeah, they a thing now. Get into it. They having a little moment in the meadow. Playing, laughing, probably talking about how cute their little wolf babies would be. Adorable, right? But then, bam, the scent hits them. Heavy, dominant. Like that when Uncle who always wears too much cologne to the family reunion. It's him, the big Alpha. Thor. Snow, chilly. She panics. She jumps and accidentally bites Rasham. Like, for real, draws blood on my boy. She shook, looking like, oh my God, what did I do? But then she licks the wound, all tender like, and poof. It heals, like, heal. Rasham's looking at his neck, then at her, like, wait, hold up, did you just? He's impressed. Okay. Amazed, like, my girl got superpowers. We love to see it. That little boo-boo just made him even more ready for whatever's coming. And speaking of coming, through the woods, come as you please, strolls Thor. And when I say strolls, I mean he got an entourage. Wolves on wolves on wolves, looking like they about to shoot a music video for Wolves Got Money. It was a scary sight. Well, even if Rasham's whole pack and the flock suddenly turned into wolves, they were outnumbered. Too late to run, too late to hide. This ain't no game of tag, sweetie. Rasham, ever the showman, throws his head back and lets out a howl, loud, proud, drawing all eyes to him. Like, you who, big boy. The main event is over here. Trying to get the heat off his flock, you feel me? Snow, she sees Thor, and it's like a whole different vibe. She runs to the side, and they got this moment, nuzzling, greeting each other. They melting, okay? Rasham's over there watching this, and you can just see the little green-eyed monster peeking out. He's like, excuse me, my love interest. What is this? The wolf bachelor. The jealousy was thick. Thor finally turns to Rasham, looking him up and down like he's trying to decide if he's worth the effort. I'm Thor, he says, his voice like actual thunder, no cap, leader of the Thunder House. You've been busy, little wolf. Then he lays it down, defeat me, and my gift to you is lightning itself. But if I win, he grins, all teeth. My gift is your beating heart. Chilly, the drama. Rasham, he ain't no punk. He likes to counter. That's his M.O. Let him swing first. Then BAM, hit him with the Uno reverse. Thor was huge, though, like twice Rasham's size. Built like a furry Mack truck. Thor lunges, a blur of muscle and fury. But Rasham, he's quick. He sidesteps, uses Thor's own momentum, and flips his big behind to the ground. Ooh, gagged him a bit. Rasham resets, looking cool. The other wolves, Thor's crew and Rasham's, they start snarling, barking. It's chaos, honey, pure noise. And in that chaos, Rasham gets caught lacking. Thor, quick for a big dude, lunges again, and this time he connects. Bites Rasham right on the neck. Rasham barely twists away from a death blow. He's thinking, no games now. But wait for it. The bite, same spot Snow nipped him, and just like before, it heals again. Thor sees it. He looks at Snow, who's watching with wide eyes, then back at Rasham. Oh, Thor rumbles, a nasty little smile on his face. You have Snow's healing factor. Cute, it will pass. The shade of it all. Thor attacks again, thinking he got this. But Rasham was ready. He sidesteps that death blow like a matador, and then he counters with a death blow of his own. A quick, vicious scratch right across Thor's eye, dragging it to the ground. Deaf to sight, Thor screams. A sound that ain't just pain, it's pure rage. All the other wolves go silent, dead quiet. You could hear a pin drop. Thor, breath and heavy, one eye ruined, starts to. Low, lightning, real freaking lightning, starts crackling around his feet. He's charging up like a damn battery. In a flash, Thor tackles Rasham. No finesse, just pure, electrified rage. He's bitten, clawing, and those paws, they zapping Rasham with every hit, unblockable. It's looking dire, Borbs. My boy Rasham is getting lit up like a Christmas tree. But then, plot twist. Grim, yes, Grim, out of nowhere, tackles Thor. Just slams into his side, knocking him off Rasham for a hot second. Running, Grim yells, his voice hoarse. Rasham, bleeding, healing, confused, scrambles up. He sees the look in Grim's eyes. This was it for him. He runs. runs towards the flock, towards safety. He hears it behind him, a sickening thud, a final, pain yell. Thor's power. It was too much. Grim was gone, his brother. Gone. Rashom makes it to the middle of the meadow, his heart breaking. He looks up at the stormy sky, tears mixing with the rain on his fur, and then he just cries out. Not how. A name, a power, lightning, and boom. From Rashom himself, a massive bolt of lightning erupts, streaking up into the sky, branching out, looking like a giant skeletal tree in the dead of winter. The meadow is lit up. Rashom stands there, trembling, a conduit of raw, untamed power. End of mission. Honey, I think it's just the beginning of a whole new storm. Period. Chapter 6. Now, power, as they say, is a heady thing. And for Rashom, newly imbued with the very essence of lightning after his faithful encounter with Thor, it was less a gift and more a rather volatile affliction. Every word he uttered, every attempt at communication, became a conduit for raw, untamed electricity. The air around him crackled with an energy he could not leash. His own pack, the former wolves of Grim now looking to him for guidance, watched with a mixture of awe and trepidation. He had to retreat, you see, fled to the deep woods, a crackling, sparking silhouette against the ancient trees. Snow, the alpha female whose bite had strangely intertwined their fates, knew this was no mere tantrum of power. She had seen the light before, understood the legacy of the lightning house. She worried, as any would, that this untamed energy, this raw elemental fury, would consume him from within. For Rashom knew nothing of controlling such a tempest. In the quiet solitude of the forest, the raw shock of his transformation began to subside. His wounds, a testament to Thor's might and Grim's sacrifice, had mended. The wild electricity that had coursed through him, threatening to tear him apart, began to settle, though it left an echo, a persistent thrumming in his thoughts, a headache that whispered of a power too vast for one wolf to contain. There were moments he felt he wasn't going to make it, that the storm inside would be his undoing. It was in such a moment of weary contemplation that a new voice entered his isolated world. Now, perched on a branch above, regarded him with eyes that seemed to hold the wisdom of ages. Do you know who you are? It hooted, a simple question that resonated deep within Rashom's troubled spirit. Rashom, startled, opened his mouth to answer what he perceived as a rather pedestrian inquiry, and the woods nearly paid the price. Lightning, fierce and uncontrolled, leaped from him, narrowly missing a neighboring ancient oak, charring its roots, a stark reminder of the chaos he still embodied. Thou, unperturbed, glided down, landing gracefully before the unsettled wolf. I'm Vision, it stated, his voice calm amidst the lingering scent of ozone. And I have seen you, upon a large hill, locked in battle with Thor. I saw you rise. I saw you become Alpha. That, wolf, is who you are. Alpha. Vision paused, his gaze unwavering. Now, who are you? A flicker of understanding, perhaps. Rashom focused, the word forming in his mind before his lips. Alpha, he breathed, and for a blessed moment, no lightning followed. Oh, he tried again, a little louder, a test. Alpha. This time, a colossal thunderbolt erupted, not from him, but from the sky, obliterating the very tree Vision had been perched upon. The tree that now bore the distinct look of a freshly constructed, if somewhat rudimentary, a bowl. Vision merely shrugged, a surprisingly human gesture for a bird of prey. I built that today, it commented, almost conversationally, the day I met Alpha. Rashom, a little stunned by the owl's composure, tried once more, the word of quiet affirmation. Alpha, and the internal storm, the electrical torment, ceased. The lightning was still there, a part of him now, but it listened, it waited. It was then, in the newfound quiet, that his senses, honed by instinct and amplified by his new station, picked up a new threat. Through the trees, he saw them, foxes, many of them moving with a silent, ninja-like purpose, their forms flitting through the undergrowth, a river of russet fur flowing in one undeniable direction, towards his flock. First Thor, and now this, Rashom murmured, a weary sigh escaping him, a war on two fronts. I suppose that's what Mondays are for. There was no time for contemplation. He moved, a streak of determined gray, arriving at the meadow just as the first whispers of unease rippled through his sheep and his pack. This is no drill, he announced, his voice clear, control, carrying the weight of command. Foxes are on the move, and Thor is coming. Abandon this outpost. Scatter, hide. I will take care of this. There was no hesitation. The flock, guided by the wolves who once hunted them, merged into the landscape. The foxes, old and numerous, swarmed into the now empty meadow. And just as they did, that familiar, potent scent of ozone and impending battle washed over Rashom. Thor, I have to be quick, he thought. He didn't just think it. He became it. Alpha mode, a state of heightened senses, of pure, focused intent. The foxes, hundreds of them it seemed, charged, and Rashom met them, a whirlwind of controlled fury. They were fast, they were many, but they were not him. Not a single paw, not a single tooth, laid upon him as he dispatched them with a terrifying, almost balletic efficiency. As the last fox fell, Vision reappeared, landing silently nearby, and then, from the edge of the woods, Thor emerged, his one good eye burning with cold fire. Rashom didn't wait. From across the distance, he locked onto his rival, the Alpha State Surgeon. He launched himself, a gray thunderbolt, striking Thor with the force of the falling mountain, sending the larger wolf crashing to the ground. Thor rose, smoke and sparks rising from his fur where Rashom's laden lightning had made contact. He, too, entered his own Alpha state, a terrifying aura of raw power. He charged, but Rashom was ready. He didn't meet force with force. Instead, a sound ripped from his throat, a bark, deep, resonant, imbued with a power that shook the very air. It struck the charging Thor like an invisible wall, halting his momentum, throwing him back. Thor's pack, witnessing this, faltered, their aggression dimming. Thor, recovering, stared at Rasham, a new understanding in his gaze. Wolf bite. He growled, the words carrying clearly across the distance, a grudging acknowledgement, perhaps, of the healing factor, of a power he hadn't fully anticipated. Then he turned, and with a curt signal, he and his pack retreated into the woods. Rasham stood, watching them go. Then he threw his head back, and a howl unlike any he had uttered before tore through the air. Alpha. And as he did, lightning, brilliant and pure, arced from him, not in destruction, but in a dazzling, wondrous display, illuminating the meadow like a midday sun. And that, you see, is how Rasham, the wolf who once struggled with his own nature, truly became alpha, not just of a pack, but of a house, the Grim House, as it would come to be known. Wolves once designed to hunt and kill sheep, now standing as their protectors, united under a leader who understood the storm, both within and without. Their purpose, like his, forever changed. Dream 8. So picture Rasham, alpha of the newly minted Grim House, protector of the fluffballs, wielder of the sappy sap. Man's had a week. He's laid out, catching some ZS under a pale moon, the kind that makes shadows look like they got knives. His pack's quiet. The sheep are doing their best impression of, well, sleeping sheep, all calm, too calm. Then the dream hits. It ain't no fluffy clouds and chasing rabbits. Nah, this is that gritty, as for jungle kind of dream. The air smells like wet concrete and bad intentions. Rasham still got his fur, but the ground beneath his paws feels warm, hard. He's in a clearing, but the trees look like skeletal skyscrapers, and the moonlight is coming from a busted streetlight, flickering like a snitch's resolve. And then she walks in. Snow. But this ain't the snow he nuzzles within the meadow. Ah, this is Dream Snow, see. She got this look in her eye, like she's seen it all, done it all, and probably got the damn t-shirt, stained with a little bit of blood and a whole lot of don't try me. She moves like a panther in tailored silk, if panthers wore tailored silk and carried the weight of 1,000 bad decisions made right. Well, she says, her voice smooth like aged whiskey but with an edge that could cut glass. It ain't her usual tone. This got that Alonzo Harris echo, that I'm about to drop some jewels on you, rookie. So you better listen the hell up vibe. Look at you, King Kong, sitting on your little throne of twigs and good intentions. Cute, Rasham, even in the dream, he's like, Snow, what's with her? She cuts him off with a look. This ain't no tea party, Rasham. This is advanced placement. You want to be alpha. You want to stay alpha. Then you gotta understand the goddamn rules of the jungle, and this concrete ain't no different from them woods you play in. He circles him, slow, deliberate, like a short checking out a swimmer who just got a paper cut. Rule number 1, rookie. To be a wolf, you gotta be a wolf, not some half-ass. Oh, I feel bad for the sheep kind of clown. That sentiment, that'll get you killed. That'll get your whole damn pack killed. You gotta protect what's yours, yeah. But you gotta make him know it's yours. Fear, Rasham. It ain't pretty, but it's a hell of a motivator. You ain't running for prom king here. This is life and death, every damn day. Rasham's dream self is trying to process this. This ain't the Snow who licked his wounds and fought by his side. This is harder. And that lightning. Dream Snow scoffs, flicking her ear like she's dismissing a fly. That little party trick Thor left you with. You think that's for show, for macking pretty lights in the sky to impress the sheep. He gets right up in his face, dream breath smelling like ozone and gunpowder. That ain't a toy, son. That's the wrath of God in your damn paws. It's a statement. You point that thing, you better mean it. No hesitation. Hesitation in this game gets you a toe tag in the morgue or a shallow grave in the woods. You feel that power. You control it, or it controls you. It ain't about how bright it burns. It's about where you aim the damn fire and making sure when it hits, it counts. The dream shifts. Suddenly, the sheep is flock. They ain't fluffy. They got shifty eyes, wearing little fedoras, looking like a lineup of snitches. One of them bleats, and it sounds like a siren. See, Dream Snow says, nodding towards the shady sheep. Threats come in all forms. Sometimes they bleat. Sometimes they roar. You gotta have the eyes to see it, the guts to face it, and the will to put it down if it comes to that. This alpha life, it ain't about being loved, Rasham. It's about being respected. It's about making the hard calls nobody else wants to make. You crying about Grim. He made his choice. You made yours. Now you live with it, or you die by it. He steps back, the hard edges around her softening just a fraction, a glimpse of the snow he knows, but it's fleeting. The power, Rasham, the lightning, the crown, it's all a test. Every day is training day. You pass, or you fail. There ain't no middle ground in this business. The busted streetlight above them flickers violently, then pops, plunging the dream into near darkness. Rasham can just make out Snow silhouette. Wake up, Alpha. Her voice echoes, losing some of that training day grit, sounding more like the real Snow, but with a haunting undertone. And don't you dare forget the curriculum. Rasham jolts awake. Real world. Sun dappling through the leaves. His flock is munching grass, blissfully unaware. His pack members are stirring, looking to him for the day's direction. He can still feel the phantom grit of concrete under his paws. Still hear that hard edge voice in his ears. He looks at his own paws, half expecting to see sparks. Nothing. But the feeling of the lightning, the weight of the crown, the echo of that brutal lesson. That was real enough. He shakes his head, a low growl rumbling in his chest. Training day, every damn day. He got the message, loud and clear. The end for now. All right.